Towing is a career full of different situations, from vehicles missing a wheel to having none at all. A great operator learns to use all the tools in both his physical and mental toolbox. I'm here today to tell you about a new tool for your physical toolbox, the back pull hitch. I'll be the first to tell you I had my doubts that I personally aired on this podcast. But the fine folks over at Back Pull Hitch sent me a product to test and to use, and boy was I surprised. From the quality of the build and how easy it was to use, I was surprised. And it made me eat my words real fast. So if you're a doubter like me, head on over to backpullhitches.com. That's BAKPUL hitches.com and add another valuable tool to your toolbox. You won't regret it. And I didn't have my usual enthusiasm.
Yeah, you sound completely different. You sound like a completely different guy.
Right now?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Oh, well. I don't care.
Oh, no. The audio listeners won't know what the hell's going on.
How will they know it's me? Oh, yeah. My opinions. That'll probably set them straight.
You're always just an asshole anyway, so they'll be able to put two and two together.
My insults towards you, my opinions. Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're going to figure out I'm still the same me with a different voice. I was really hoping you were telling me you were getting training.
No.
Sensitivity training.
Yeah. I'm in HR every weekend normally. They work weekends. That's how often we need them.
Yeah. I haven't seen my HR department in a while. It's a good thing.
Aren't you the HR department?
Nah, nope. That's not my job. There's a lot of things that are not my job that are my job, but HR is not one of them. Could you imagine me as an HR manager?
No.
He said something that hurt my feelings.
And what'd you say back?
Yeah,
well, nothing. I came to you. Why?
Yeah. Go sort your own shit out.
Hey everyone, I'm Brad from Calgary.
This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Pitt Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life Podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life Podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life Podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I'm your host, TowManG, and as usual, I am joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the man with very strong opinions himself, Mr. PlainGuy.
What is going on, G? What is going on?
Oh, it's 7:40 a.m., and I've finished one cup of coffee, so we're going to see how this podcast goes.
We'll be through multiple by the end of it. I hope you guys at home listening, enjoying, and on the road are topped up on fresh coffee, as we always are. It's a nice, wonderful Saturday morning.
I never thought about that. Our podcast, well, on the Spotify, it comes out at midnight, and on the YouTube, it normally comes out at 6:30. So if you guys are listening to this when it first comes out, you're listening to us when you're having your first cup of joe in the day. That could be a morning ritual for you.
That is a terrible way to start your morning. You do not want to watch the news or listen to us first thing in the morning before you fully had your first cup of coffee. For the record, it comes out on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music, all those places at 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Yeah, 2 a.m. because I always get worried when you set the times that it messes up. So I always go with 2. That way it's 2 a.m., not 12 p.m. a.m. mix up. Actually,
you and letters don't work too well.
No, absolutely not. Actually, this last week's episode, for any of you guys that did wake up to have your morning cup of coffee and it wasn't already there, I apologize for that. It did not save whenever I had set it up. I woke up in the morning to check something and went, why isn't the episode published? Ran in, got it done, got it uploaded. Everything was well in the world. So hopefully you're enjoying your day. Hopefully you're enjoying your coffee, and hopefully the ditches are deep and full with many vehicles.
We're getting into that season where I'm over summer. I feel like a lot of guys are getting there, and we're looking forward to the white powder again to have some fun.
Oh, you and me are on different. Wow, I cannot speak in the mornings. Different ends of the spectrum on that one, my friend. I feel like I've missed summer.
Yeah.
and trying to figure out where it went and trying to get any last little bit of summer in before summer ends.
No, I'm just talking about the work side of things. I enjoy this time of year because the bugs are starting to die and the temperature's starting to cool down. And me being a fat man, it kind of, nice. I can go outside and not feel like I'm just going to drop or keel over and die.
No, it is true. It is, it's nicer to have that coffee now when it's a couple degrees cooler. But I mean, it's still, the temperatures have still been up pretty high in our area. Like,
Yeah,
it
you
hasn't
put a
felt-
sweater on in the morning and you're taking it off like an hour into the day.
yeah.
But
yeah, no, it's definitely a nice change. But no, I don't know where summer went. You're right. The bugs. Oh, there's nothing worse than cleaning the bugs off the windshields. We have 2 Hinos. We have 3 Hinos, but mainly we have 2 Hinos. These Hinos are great trucks. I love these trucks, and guys can show me all they want. It's a Hino. It is what it is. Productivity wise, fuel efficiency wise, maneuverability, everything. I'm a big fan. The downside of these things is they have massive windshields and they're not angled at all. Like, they're pretty much dead straight. So when you are driving down the highway at night, especially when it cools off after a hot day and all the bugs are out, they don't bounce off. Right? You're not getting that, when you're driving your Dodge and you see a bug go ping.
yeah.
Mine, they don't. They just go.
You might as well start waving at Jeeps because you're pretty much are one with that flat piece of glass in front of you.
Yeah, Jeep owners, I can understand your pain when you're cleaning off a million bugs where everybody else only has about 50 of them. It's that flat windshield. They, like I said, they don't bounce off. They just splatter, and it's almost a daily thing. First thing in the morning, getting the pressure washer out, getting all the bugs off the windshield because you can collect them.
When a bug hits your windshield, what's the last thing it sees?
It's ass.
Yeah.
It's actually what's the last thing that goes through its mind.
Oh, it's ass. There's your dad joke for the day, guys.
There we go. I hope we have successfully knocked that off the list. I'm gonna just go check that off. Corny dad joke and done.
Yeah,
Okay,
perfect.
Perfect. We can leave that one there. We don't have to rebeat that horse.
No, that horse is dead. Good morning, PlainGuy. Have we said that it's the morning yet?
I just knew what you were going to transition, and it was going to be terrible. So I am happy that you went and did what you did. When it comes to guys working long runs, we're talking about being on the highway and all the bugs. What is it that you prefer? Would you prefer? I'll ask you this as well. Would you prefer to do? Let's say we're talking a 12-hour day. Would you prefer to do one long run? I mean, we're talking 5 hours away, an hour loading, hour unloading each end, whatever it may be.
Takes you an hour to load, Jesus.
I'm talking if you're doing 5 hours away, you better be taking 2. You better be hauling 2 if you're going that far away. If you haven't found a way to communicate with a neighbor, find something else. I mean, so we're talking that. We're going to say this run's going to take you your full shift. Would you rather be on the road on that full shift, just driving, mind numbing, and the highway? You know the highway around here, especially where I come out of.
Yeah.
There is 300 kilometers before you start to see anything worthwhile. Or would you rather be running around hopping all day, having that? And I mean, not doing 35 calls. I mean, you know what I mean? But a steady one after another. We got dollies. Every second call is dollies. What would you rather be doing?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't really get too many of those long hauls, right? Like a long haul for me is like 150, 200 kilometers. Like that's pretty much as far as I go for the area that I'm in.
Right.
So I haven't really experienced the all day drive. I've done all day drives and turn around and drive back. Like I've driven out to Ottawa and back in the same day, and that's a long run, and I'm tired at the end of it. But if I was to do a long run in, let's say, your Hino flatbed compared to my comfy Dodge 5500, I think I would more enjoy it in my Dodge.
That's fair. Yeah.
Right. I've got more leg room. It's a little bit more comfy to sit in. I don't have to watch quite as hard with a bigger truck. I fit in the lane better.
Are you saying like you have to pay less attention?
No, No, I'm just saying I don't have to pay any additional attention on top
I
of
gotta
what I
watch
already.
less hard.
Yes. Not as much strain on my eyeballs, you know?
If you see G rolling down the highway, please look out because he's not apparently if he's rocking around in his Dodge. He's not looking for you. He's not watching any harder. So you be sure to watch for him.
Watch out en route to the tow show because I'm driving.
Yeah. Absolutely. Look out for that thing coming down the highway. And if you see it, please get out of the way. No, absolutely. I think that plays into it. Truck.
Yeah.
Comfort, 100%, but at the same time, if you are rocking the Eno, you got, like I said, the option of 2 instead of the option of 1.
And you're not slinging dollies if you are staying in town, right? So it's the same hookup, and you should be winching every car onto the bed. So even if you do 15 calls in a day, you're still getting down on the ground 30 times, at least minimum, even 60, depending on how well you can unload and pop out your J's or your mini J's or whatever you're using.
Really good.
Yeah.
Not on crawling down to unhook them.
Yeah, like if you got one of those stiff bridles from BA, if you're good about it, you can drop it off and then just slide the bed back a little bit and sometimes pop them out. Like it's pretty badass.
I roll the tires back a foot and roll them back forward a foot, and a lot of times the hooks will go clink and just fall off. Yeah. So
there's a tip and trick that we should have talked about last week.
I have not seen the tips and tricks. We are recording a little bit earlier. We haven't had time to let them come in. We will get back to that. Absolutely. Any tips and tricks you have, that is 100% one of mine. Roll the car back up, free spool the winch. Obviously, make sure you're on flat ground. Use common sense when you're doing this. Like, don't do it on a downhill.
Yeah.
If the car doesn't run, if the car runs, put it in free spool. Like, put the car in park, put it in free spool, hop in the car, put it in reverse, back up, drive forward, click, cling, cling. Hooks fall off. If you're running a strap bridle, and it's a stiff enough strap bridle, if it's something that'll just fold, it won't work. But if it's stiff, because it'll just naturally want to push back against the car. If you've got it hooked on your A-arms, right, and you didn't grab any tie rods, and it's not something weird like a Volkswagen, it should just pop off, and you actually hear it ting, and then you'll hear ting, and then you back the car up slowly. All of a sudden, you see the winch isn't pulling. You park the car, you get out. Same thing, you start tilting your bed, bringing it up. Start winching in as you lift the bed. The hooks grab the end of the bed perfectly. You don't have to go reset anything. Work smart, not hard. I believe in lazy work is good work.
But yeah, so in a bed, I feel like I told a guy the one day, he was like, "Oh, that car drives. Why didn't you drive it onto the bed?" I was like, "I cut corners in my job all the time. If I'm staying in town, I put 3 of the tire straps on, which is still well over my weight requirement on the straps, instead of 4. That's a shortcut, right? Why am I going to shortcut driving a car onto the bed? Because from all the liability we talked about the last time, you're putting a lot of faith in that parking pin. Or if it's a wet day out and you got an aluminum bed, you're putting a lot of faith in equipment that's not yours. You're picking up this car that might have bad brakes or bad transmission or whatever the case may be. There's just too many unknown factors. So me winching every car on the bed, I've got an extra safety for that winch there, which isn't tight and it's not a form of securement, but it's there if it's needed, right? Why am I going to cut the corner of a vital part of my job? Because I'm not going to show up in my wrecker and just not put spoons on the car and pick it up. That's a vital part of my job, right? So why am I going to cut that corner? So in theory, down doing your 15 calls 60 times in the day, getting down on the ground. Hopefully it's not raining. If it is raining, automatically long run.
Okay, wait. Yes, I'm going to get to that. 15 calls, getting down on the ground 60 times.
Yes, because you got to get down on each side of the car. Right?
Okay.
And then doing the same unload.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. I was questioning the TowManG university math we got going on here. But okay, I will allow that answer.
It's the correct answer, asshole.
Where is producer Sarah to go? Ding, point TowManG.
Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done.
We are missing producer Sarah, if you haven't noticed already, as you did, because G gave me all these compliments in an intro, compliments that he can't seem to give to producer Sarah when she's here. So yeah, she is out traveling the world as usual. She will be hopefully back with us next week. But
100% many talents she is.
Absolutely. Weather related 100%. It's pouring rain. See ya.
Yeah.
Send me as far away as you can. I am a big believer that I'd rather work in -40 than rain.
And snow. Yeah, I'd much rather work in a blizzard than rain.
Yeah, 100%. I hate the rain with passion. I will take 40 degree plus 40. I will take -40. I don't care. I don't deal well with rain. Call me what you will. I hate the rain. Well, I work in it. Of course, it is what it is. We all do. But I'm just saying, if I had my preference, yes, 100%. It's rainy, spitty rain one day, or even, chance of a couple big downpours, and there's a run going 400, 500 kilometers away. I don't care if I just did 4 of those days in a row, or if I just, slept 6 hours. I want that because I am going to be much happier riding down the road, listening to podcasts like this one. And it's the only chance I actually get to ever listen. I listened to last week's show. You will not believe it, G. I actually listened.
Really? How many hours did you have to work in a week to be able to listen to our show?
70 something.
You hypocrite.
And all running down the highway where I had all the time in the world. And I finally ran out of shows and I went, I should probably listen to that Towing Life podcast. I hear it's pretty good.
And you know what? The first time I ever got a compliment from you from something I did in the middle of an episode was at episode 56.
That's how you knew I actually did listen to the whole thing. Yeah, it is the ongoing thing that I never listened afterwards. Why do I need to listen to it? I was here. I said it.
You can't remember what we talked about last week.
Speaking of which, what are we talking about this week? But no, when it comes to doing if I've got to be in town and I'm going to be guaranteed 15 dolly calls, or I've got to do the long run in a bed, I'll take the long road in a bed. You know that I have been, a very strong believer that beds are rookie trucks. I'm changing my opinion. They are still rookie trucks.
Oh yeah.
They are rookie and retirees.
Yeah.
So
I ran a bed for 2
and
days.
I'm starting to lean to the side of the retiree.
I ran a bed for 2 days in the last week, and driving it around, the first couple of calls I did, I was like, oh, damn it, the fucking bed. And then I did a couple of calls that would have been dolly calls. And I was like, oh, all right. I remember why I like this bed. And it didn't matter what call came in. I didn't give a crap what it was.
Yeah,
just send me whatever you got. If it rolls, perfect. If it doesn't, I'll make it roll.
Yeah.
No, it's simple. I like it. It is a rookie truck because it's simple to get the basics down. But if you want to be a good bed operator, there's a pretty big skill gap to be able to do everything, especially when it comes to the recoveries. But
when I say rookie trucks, absolutely. It's no disrespect to the guys that are riding in beds. I really don't need when we show up at the tow show in Cambridge in a couple of weeks, or Kitchener, sorry. Somebody comes up and gives me a shot and goes, hey, I thought you said beds were for rookies. No, you guys, beds are.
I could train a guy for a bed and a day, maybe a day and a half.
On basic loading and unloading. 100%. A monkey could do it. Yeah. No disrespect to anyone in the industry, but a monkey could do it.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to doing the trickier stuff, you're right. The recovery work, a good flatbed operator takes just as long to train as a good wrecker operator, and not everybody can do it. And the guys,
there's less things to watch out for and worry about,
and more at the same time.
Yes, but I find, like, especially just training this new guy, he kept saying to me, he's like, well, do I have to worry about that if I was driving a bed? I was like, no, like ground clearance is like loading and unloading, but you can see that. You don't have to worry about it going down the road. It's just when you're out of the truck looking at it. He was like, I think I might like a flatbed better. I was like, but you're a wrecker driver. So give it a couple of years in the wrecker and your problem solving skills are going to go through the roof being a wrecker driver. And then if you want to become a bed driver, you will become a better bed driver like that, because you have these problem-solving skills and you can think outside of the button.
Well, and you'll be a bed driver that knows how to use his wheel lift. I find those are harder to find. A bed driver, and I've had some new guys who, in all fairness, I haven't trained them, so no wonder they don't really fully comprehend the wheel lift, and that's fair. But I've known bed operators that have been doing a little while that aren't super confident on their wheel lifts. Yeah. And so, but any wrecker driver, who hops into a bed will kind of have the edge whenever it comes to that.
One of my first bed calls I ever did was in a construction site, and there was a van locked in park with the wheels slightly turned, and it was rough, and I couldn't really get straight onto it to load it properly, and I couldn't skate it because of the rough ruts in the driveway. Now, I'm not a very competent bed driver, so I'm sure someone who's been driving bed for 5-10 years would have been able to put it up on the bed. I was like, I got a wheel lift in the back of my truck. Why don't I just wheel lift the damn thing? It's only going into town. It's a light van. And that's what I did, because it's another tool that I had on the truck. And I think it was faster than
Why
trying
couldn't
to...
you, why couldn't you
Because
get on your bed?
so the wheel, it was locked in park with no neutral bypass. It was like an old Toyota van,
Okay.
and it was in a construction zone, so there's big ruts in front of it.
Okay.
So even if I was to try to drag it, it's going to get caught by the ruts, and I couldn't skate it because it would get caught in the big ruts and everything like that.
I'll show you a trick. Not here. I'll show you a trick on it. You guys, that'll be our premium content. You want to learn these tricks, you got to come over to the premium side. For UG.
Oh boy. Are we putting up a paywall? I don't want no paywalls.
No, I don't believe in paywalls. I believe in microtransactions. For a coffee a day, you can support this wonderful man.
Oh God. We're sellouts.
I'll show you.
Don't make us sellouts.
I'll show you at the tow show. I'll show you a trick with the tow show. We've got lots of tricks and lots of tips and lots of, and that's experience. Experience, just the advantage of an experienced operator is not just their ability to, the fact that they've seen scenarios before. It's a lot of times their ability to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I had a situation where we had to take apart one of our booster packs the other day. This is going way out to left field. And I shined my light in it to see what the screws were, and they were actually triangles.
Oh.
Straight up 3-point triangle. Never seen one before.
They're like the security screws, aren't they?
They're security screws, yeah. So I call, we look around, hey, you got a triangle screwdriver? To my mechanic. He goes, oh, what? No. We look, we can find a kit at Canadian Tire, whatever it is, kit, but you got to buy the whole kit. And I call my old man. I said, hey, the old man, he's got a couple tricks left in him. I said, hey, you got a triangle screwdriver? He goes, ooh, I might. Let me take a look. Looks around. Nah, I don't. He's like, what do you need it for? I'm like, to do this. Well, how many times are you going to need it? I was like, probably once. I don't know if I'll ever need it again. And he goes, you got any Robertson? Yeah. You got a bench grinder? Yeah. You must have an old screwdriver you don't need anymore. Yeah. Make one. Son of a, that's a genius idea.
Yeah.
So sure enough, out on it, taking my square
Might be a little off-centered, but it'll work.
It worked. I got it, tried a bit. Okay. Tried a bit. Okay. Put it down in. It worked. It worked like a dream. Yeah. I was shocked. Yeah. And that is the same things where, these operators, that's what experience is. Mm-hmm. Experience isn't necessarily you face the same thing at times. It's sometimes you have a different way of thinking based on a previous experience somewhere.
Yeah.
And so whenever you have these new guys coming in, it's easy to become a one-trick pony. Mm-hmm. Where you teach them one thing and you've seen it before, and I've been that way. You teach them one thing and they're like, oh, this is gospel. I can use this on everything, which they might be able to. Yeah. And then over time they realized, oh, there's another trick and another trick. And it's like, now you have 3 choices to choose from. Mm-hmm. And a good operator is the one that'll pick the one that makes the most sense and the one that does the least amount of damage.
It's like you told me about a dolly trick where you set up half your dollies underneath like a disabled trailer with a bearing gun.
Yeah.
Like in my training times, and it was, I don't know, a year ago or 2 years ago, I was actually able to implement that trick for the first time, and it was on a Sea-Doo trailer for an actual roadside dispatcher. But the tire was so small, I actually physically had to take the tire off and put a block of wood and set the dollies up underneath that. And it worked cool. It was badass. I loved it. Well, when I was training my new guy, we had the same situation. Only this time, he couldn't get the tire off. So now I'm there. I've got it hooked up to my tow truck, and I'm lifting up as high as I can. I've got the jack in the back to lift it up because I need to get the dolly bars underneath of it and a block of wood under this flat tire.
Right.
So we ended up actually strapping the block of wood to the tire and the dolly bars just so the tire didn't sink through the gap in the dolly bars to hit the road.
Oh, that's
and
fair.
Was it a pain in the rear end? Sure it was. But I trained my rookie to say, we can do it. Mm-hmm. This isn't something that someone else has to come out of their day to do. We got the call. We can do it. Is it a pain? Sure. Is it a money-making call? No, but pride and pocketbook. You can take these pictures and you can show operators years down the road, and they said, I've never done that, because it's not a common thing that you need to do.
No, and most operators, which in all fairness, in hindsight, would look back and go, why didn't you just put it on a bed?
Yeah.
Why didn't why didn't you just send a bed in the first place? And that's where pride and practicality. You can talk about pride and pocketbook all you want, but pride and practicality are also a thing that you need to consider. Because
the time it took us to get it onto the back of our truck was twice or triple the amount of time it would have taken for a pet operator to show up and drag it onto their bed.
Well, absolutely. And then, like I said, this is where it depends on what you have as a company for equipment. And you know, no one's got the magic formula, the perfect situation. You know what I mean? Has a perfect,
but it's good
2-to-1
knowledge to have. If you are out by yourself, and let's say you're just towing that trailer going down the road and the tire blows out.
Yep.
Now you have a way of getting home or getting up the side of the highway or getting to your destination without having to drop it.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be the first, you know, you don't need to use it as your first tool, but it could be something that could save you from a situation down the road. 100%.
Yeah.
And we talk about that, right? Whenever we, you know, because we come up with all these trips, we tend to figure out how to do everything. Has it ever felt like people think that, you know, we're not, you know, human beings, we're just robots. We just do the job. We shouldn't stop for lunch. Our truck shouldn't break down. We should always have all the answers.
Yeah.
Is that a true problem that we face on the road? You put this up in the note. I don't know how I feel about it, but obviously you have an opinion on it.
Like I've ran across a few people to where you say, sorry, we're really busy today. I just had to stop and grab something to eat, but I'm here now. And they're like, why did you have to stop and get something to eat before you came to me? I was like, well, if it wasn't you, it was going to be someone else. Like, there's always, I get it in your mind. I haven't done 8 other calls today, but I have. I deal with this on a day in, day out basis. This is my job. This is my livelihood. And it gets to the point where I'll push myself as much as the next guy. I'll go all day without eating. But if I know I need to eat to be able to maintain my focus and my cognitive ability to be safe doing my job, big words for me, I know.
Holy Jesus, and you nailed them.
I will stop and eat because I know my limits and I play within them. And to be a good operator, I think you need to do that. I'm not saying I'm a good operator by any means, but
I didn't say that.
it's things like that to where I've seen guys just push themselves too far, and that's when mistakes happen, right? You decide to cut the wrong corner and you try to step over your stinger and you trip and you fall, right? You could have walked around the back of the car. It's a simple thing like that. You're tired, you bumped your head, whatever the case may be. Mistakes happen when you push yourself too far normally.
Yep.
So
continue.
So I know what's going on, and it always upsets me a little bit when people say these silly things to you, but they don't know what we go through. And I'm not saying we're any better off than anyone else or worse off than anyone else. And the TV shows don't portray that, right? So that's their insight to the industry, is what they see on TV. And I'm sure doctors and lawyers have the exact same gripes and grievances about their industry from what is portrayed on TV. Now, there's nothing wrong with the guys that are on TV. They're there to do a job, but the TV show has to spice it up a little bit for the television, right?
On this wreck, the team is running without lunch, adding an extra layer of difficulty to this intricate rollover. Is that what you want to hear? Is the voiceover on Highway Through Hell or on Heavy Rescue?
They have been going for 18 hours straight with no bathrooms in sight and peeing on the side of the road all day. The snow is yellow all around them for as far as the eye can see. This is how they get the job done.
Yeah. Added ice conditions because of their yellow pee down the highway. The customers are true. They don't expect you to, customers are very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Call for service, want service, don't care, as we know, because if customers had any sort of what's the word I'm looking for, kind of cares for us in the industry, you wouldn't see the 9 p.m. at night dealership to home or home to dealership.
Yep.
You wouldn't see, you know what I mean? Customers don't care. Customers want service when customer wants service. And so they don't care if it's lunchtime. They don't know what time. You're right. They don't know what time your shift started. They didn't know. They expect that we've got 20 guys on the road, all fresh and ready to go at any time. That our lunch break should not be their concern.
And
right?
It really isn't.
It really isn't, but it maybe you're kind of right in the sense that maybe it should be. You go to a dealership and you bring your car in, you know, or a Jiffy Lube, and they go, okay, well, it's going to be a little bit. Our guys are going for lunch.
Yeah.
Do you go, oh, well, that's terrible service?
Yeah.
You go, nah, sorry, it's lunchtime. I get it.
Yeah.
So what's so different with the tower going, hey, you know, you call for your service at 11:30 and we say, hey, it's going to be a little bit because we're going to go for lunch.
Yeah. You
call a plumber. I got a pipe leak in my basement. Obviously, they're going to hurry up with something major. But if you're sitting at home with your car, you know, hey, I've got an outside tap I want you to take a look at. Plumber isn't going to go, I'll be right there. He's going to go, okay, well, it's lunchtime. I'll stop by after lunch.
Yep.
Right. But how much of this is dispatch too? Right.
Yeah.
How much is everybody having a part to play in this? Right. From the dispatch, okay, we'll get you right away, or giving a 90-minute ETA.
Yeah.
I'd be curious. Maybe I'm going to try it. I'm going to have dispatch tell a couple people that, hey, it's right around lunchtime. The guy's going to stop by. I'm going to see how that goes. If they put up a fuss.
If you're stopping at Timmy's, can you get me a double on your way, bud?
Tell me you haven't. I have had this where I had one gentleman one night where we knew we were going to be a bit getting to him. He was going far. We were trying to clean up in town. And I finally got a hold of him. I said, I'm on my way over. And great guy. No worries. No rush. I brought him up a couple 100 kilometers away. And I was on my way and I said, hey, what do you drink for a coffee? And he goes, he tells me his coffee order or whatever. And because he's like, you stopping? I'm like, yeah, I'll stop on my way to get you. He's like, that'd be great. And I stopped on my way and I got, I think a sandwich for myself because I was due, and a coffee for him. And I could hop out of the truck and hand him his coffee. And what do I owe you? You've been sitting here for a little bit. Don't worry about it. Right. I'm not gonna sweat you for the $250 for a 200 kilometer tow. I'm not that cheap.
But it's the priorities. And like I had a call the other week where the car shouldn't have really been covered, and it's already been sold through a roadside. The plates that were on it expired in 2016 and they didn't match the ownership on the car. So I was there for about an hour with the person's roadside, arguing with them to get the actual plates that belong on the car back onto the car for service. Right? Runaround situation. I didn't really even want to do it, but I always leave it in the hands of the roadside.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyways.
So I picked up the car, and as I'm heading, I get an unlock in town, so I go and do that. And as I was coming back through town, I get a police call. So I drop my truck off, I hop in a bed, and I go do the police call. Well, when I get to the drop-off point, which is like an hour and a half away, the guy at the drop-off point's freaking out at me because I took too long, and he missed his ride to a car show. I was like, I'm sorry, it's a low priority call. Nowhere in the call did it state that this car that you just bought so you could take it to scrap and get a higher price needs to be at the drop-off at a certain time. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not how it works. So I took my sweet time backing it in.
You showed him.
I know I did.
You showed him.
Yeah.
No, it's like I said, we've talked about this before. Customers with ETAs and customers and understanding, and customers not having a full grasp on what our job entails, what our day entails. So as much as we wish they would cut us some slack, sometimes we got to cut them some slack. They don't know any better. They expect us to have the answers when they don't. And it's a two-way street. But I'm definitely gonna the lunchtime thing and just be like, well, as long as they're not roadside. Roadside's a whole different thing. Like when I say roadside, I don't mean roadside companies. They're the worst. Some of their customers. I mean actually broken down roadside on the side of a highway, something like that.
Stuff that's a priority call.
Is a priority call. Now, is it a priority call based on how long the ETA has already been up? That's something that could be a whole debate too. But as for a call comes in at 11 o'clock and it's, hey, guys got to go for lunch. Guys got to eat too, especially when we have a busy day. We always try to eat, we always try to eat whenever we find the downtime. Yeah. And then we sit there and go, why? I kind of think about that and I go, who else does that?
Yeah, who eats on their own time at
I guess
company?
police, paramedics, all that, they eat whenever they can get a break in their shift. They don't know what the next calls are, kind of thing, right? There
Yeah.
is that. And then, like,
Yeah.
and so if you guys want to, maybe that's where everyone thinks they're a first responder because they have the same lunch schedule as first responders. I mean, if that's the minimum requirement, I'm going with that's what they figured out, right? These highway these
Oh,
guys, these highway heroes, and there's a lot of tow operators who are heroes of the highway.
Yeah.
These highway heroes. Somebody's gonna take a shot at me at the tow show for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, you must be a first responder in a tow truck because you have the same lunch cycle as actual first responders. So,
But it's not even just the physical side, it's also the equipment side. Like I picked up a car, it was going 2 kilometers, she was on the roadside, she thought her battery died. I informed her that her battery light came on, it was probably the alternator. I put my battery pack on it just to show her, like, hey, you've got no voltage. We got the car started. I got her pulled over onto the side of the road a little bit more because she was over the white line to make my job safer.
right.
I told her, I was like, you're running off my pack. I turned my pack off. Your car's going to stall. So I picked her up. I took her the 2 kilometers down the street. I was like, do you have a cell phone? Can you call a ride from there? She was like, well, the only person I know in town just had his toe amputated and the other friend is out of the province. It's like, okay, well, I'll load up your groceries into my tow truck and I'll just drive you into town to your house. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much, she said. And I was like, okay. So I get the keys off of her and I said, by the time you go in and tell them what you're here for and all your name and everything like that, I'll have the groceries in my truck and we'll be good to go. I dropped the car down. And as I'm lowering my boom, because I always put my boom up when I'm towing so I don't hit my head on it, I blow a hydraulic line. And I was like, it wasn't a geyser. And I was like, that sounds like a running fluid. And I look onto the passenger side of my truck and all I can see is mist across the parking lot. And I was like, uh-oh. So I jammed the boom back up because getting a plate off and working underneath is almost impossible if the boom's all the way down. So I jam the boom up about 3 feet and I jump in and turn the PTO off. And I look underneath the truck and it's the main line running from the pump to the tank, the high pressure line.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. It runs over top of the frame twice. And I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. And that's why I drove the bed for 2 days, is because on the way back to the shop to jump into the other truck after I drove the nice old elderly lady home, she was like, oh, you can pull up my driveway. I was like, I don't want to put hydraulic fluid on your driveway.
Yeah.
Um,
Unless you're looking for an undercoating.
yeah.
I'm gonna stay out here.
I called up my rookie and I was like, you're working tonight, right? He was like, yeah, I thought I was. I was like, well, if you want to work tonight, do you want to come in and fix this truck? Because we've got 20 calls on the board and I got to keep going.
Yep.
He was like, all right, I'll be right there. And he was actually really good. He came in and plugged away at it all day and got as most of it done as he could with very minimal help. But it's things like that to where us being people in our own personal life sometimes takes priority over this job. And as much as we sit here and we say, yeah, we live and breathe this industry and we're a part of it, personal things happen. We were reached out to from Brandon from Alabama. He says he's the manager of a towing company in Mobile, Alabama. And on the 25th of last month, one of his drivers' house burnt to the ground in a fire and he lost 2 of his sons, ages 4 and 2. That's a big thing. And I don't expect him to be going back to work anytime soon because he's got more bigger priorities right now. He's not gonna be working. Like, I wouldn't expect him to come back to work for at least a month
No.
while he processes that stuff.
Losing two children, I can only imagine the pain.
And your house with all your belongings. Like you've got 2 massive burdens put on you at the same time. Well, 3, I guess. Losing 2 sons and all your personal belongings. Like that's my heart aches for you and your family. Like that's I couldn't even imagine. But they have set up a GoFundMe to help for some of the funeral expenses for the children and the housing situation that him and his wife and the rest of his family are needing to go to, and we will put that link down below in the description of this video if you feel obligated to go read up more on the story or if you want to donate. But we're thinking about you up here in the north, and we hope that you can do the best you can in the time that you got. It's a horrible situation, and we're feeling for you.
Absolutely. Nobody deserves to go through anything like that, losing children. Never, put aside the house even to start with, just the children. So the industry has a way of coming together. We always hear it referred to as the brotherhood in the towing industry. So, I mean, if you can, great. If you can't, no one's going to judge you for it. But absolutely, there is an operator whose family has been put into a dire situation, and anything that anyone can do to help is always helpful to situations like this. They're also putting together a benefit for the family that'll be taking place beginning of October, and they're still working out the details. So if we get a follow-up on that, we will bring it to you guys. But absolutely, our thoughts and prayers are with the family from Mobile, Alabama. The operator who's being put through hell and back.
Yeah.
So what a way to really end the.
It's life, though. It's life. And as much as we live and breathe the towing industry, we all have lives and we all have families that we want to get home to, and that's something that we can't forget. As much as we sit here and talk towing and listen about towing for you guys listening to the podcast, take time for yourself. Lie, cheat, and steal is your motto, and never forget to actually go home and tell your loved ones that you love them, because you never know. You just never know.
Absolutely. It can come and go just as quickly. So on behalf of both of us over at the Towing Life Podcast, we thank you again for listening. Personally, I thank you, each and every one of you, for coming out. Any help that you can give out to this family. Thank you for coming back week after week. Do not forget, the Ontario Tow Show is coming September 16th, 17th in Kitchener, Ontario. You will find us there. The Towing Life Podcast will be live. We will be sitting down talking with people. We will be out and about. We will be doing some lives. Keep an eye on the Facebook, on the YouTube. Make sure you follow it and subscribe over at both of those places, because that is where you will get any live videos that we do throughout the show. We'll be sure to show off some stuff. There's some great speakers. I don't know if you've seen the lineup, G, but it is everything that you want in a tow show, or I've wanted in a tow show, seems to be at this year's Ontario Tow Show. From representatives from the MTO and the OPP to talk about the new ELD mandates, from Wreckmaster providing seminars on training on different things, for
you could
seminars
learn something
on specking, how to spec a truck. I know you've talked about that on an episode you did by yourself at one point. There is going to be a bunch of different things there. So as an operator in the province, this has been the PTAO. I remember going to shows that sucked. I feel bad saying that, because I know that a lot of people put a lot of hard work into them. But if you want me as a guest showing up at this tow show, it sucked. That's my honest review of it. So the fact that what they have done, the venue they have found, Bingman's Resort in Kitchener, go check out their website. There is something for everyone while you are there. There's indoor arcades for the kids. There's like the indoor equipment. I think it's indoor stuff, like the little equipment they can play with. There's mini putt. There's everything for the family. Make it a family trip. It's an off weekend, so it's not, we're gonna miss Labor Day like we have this weekend that passed by the time this episode airs. It's a great time with the family. There's camping, there's cabins. We've rented a cabin. There's fire pits. We're hoping to do some lives from the show and some different things. Keep an eye out for what we have coming. We'll announce as we get to the show and as we get closer where you'll be able to find us. So check it out.
It's going to be a great weekend, and we really hope that we get to see you guys there and interact face to face instead of having the screen between us.
Absolutely. So thank you, TowSoft, towsoft.ca. Thank you, BA Products, baprod.com. Thank you, Backpull Hitches, BAKPUL Hitches.com. And we will see you at the tow show. Before that, we'll see you next week. Take care.
Toodles.